Welcome to the Bringing Intimacy Back show, where intimacy is real. If you desire to intimately connect with yourself, significant other, children, family, friends, community, and higher power, then this is the show for you. We explore intimate topics, inspiring life stories, spirituality, and insightful tips on strengthening relationships. The show is hosted by Dr. April and her co-host, Coach K. Let's get this episode of the Bringing Intimacy Back show started. We share with you today the secret power to intimacy to create the life you love or love the life you create. Now here's your host, Dr. April, and her co-host, Coach K.
Welcome to the Bringing Intimacy Back show, where intimacy is real. How are you doing, Coach K?
I am doing amazing. And how about yourself?
I'm doing good. Yes. Can you believe it is May already?
May, yes. The beautiful masturbation month of May is here.
Yes. Definitely. Yes. So it's masturbation month. It is mental health month,
Yep.
so those two can be kind of tied together. And mental health of maternal women. So with masturbation, that can help relief sometimes when you have a lot of stress.
Absolutely. And it's a really good time to get into a mindfulness place where you truly clear your mind and concentrate on your being, your body, whether it be the pleasure part or just the satisfaction of just being intimate with yourself.
Right, definitely. Yes. So I love how you said it's really about being mindfulness. And when you're mindful, yes, you're kind of realizing what is going on with your mind, what's going on with your body, how you're feeling. And sometimes in that process of being mindful, because we're talking about May, and May is Mental Health Month, it's Masturbation Month. Being mindful allows you to recognize, I'm not feeling so good today. Oh, this is different. This is X, this is Y.
Yeah, all of that. I sent a newsletter out yesterday just about, the month of masturbation, May. And I challenged everybody to think beyond just the physical act and the physical pleasure. And I left it open, send me what this masturbation month of May means to you. Because I want people really to look just beyond that, the physical act, and
Right.
see the deep connection that you gain with yourself and the knowledge that you get when you connect with yourself.
Oh, that's powerful. That is powerful. And even in the sense of mental health, in the sense when you're connecting with yourself, and I know we're talking about, like you said, masturbation, but that you wanted people to go further.
Yes.
So when you connect with yourself, you actually show love to yourself. And do you know how many people do not love themselves? And I know we're going to go into our topic of couples retreats. That's what our topic is today. It's talking about couples. But to have very good relationships, you really got to know yourself.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. And not rely on someone else for your enjoyment and pleasure, mentally, physically, spiritually, or otherwise.
Right. Definitely. Knowing yourself is critical in every aspect. And it's knowing not only how to please yourself, but knowing your body, understanding your body, and showing love to your body. We only get one body, guys.
That's
and
right.
That body helps us walk for many of us, talk, carry things, and all this other stuff. So we should be thankful to the feet, thankful to the thighs, thankful to everything, every part of it. And in being thankful, like if you struggle with, your weight and you're like this, but in being thankful, your body will work with you.
I totally agree. I have the same ritual every morning. I know you guys heard me talk about it all the time, but I lotion up while looking directly in the mirror. And it's up to me if there's a a flaw or something I don't like, it's up to me to look at myself and address it and work with myself to correct that, not for anyone else.
You're right, definitely. So yes. So today's topic, which I'm so excited about, is about couples retreats and throwing in the towel. Do we throw it in? Do we, what if we're like going to sessions and we're trying to get our connection with our partner, but we cannot, somehow it's not working. So I'm so excited to talk about couples retreats. But before we talk about that, and like I said, May is Mental Health Month, which is great. One of the things I want to talk about mental health is Mental Health of America. It's a great website where if you're struggling with any mental health issues, you can go onto their site, and it's mhanational.org, and it will definitely show you how to take an assessment to see if you have any mental health issues.
That's much needed. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, definitely. And our charity of the month is Patty's Place. And Patty's Place is a great organization here in Southwest Florida, where it helps individuals and families struggles with their mental health. So if you're interested, definitely check on www.pattysplace.org. A great place to donate. So let's get into the topic, couples retreats. Throw it in it. Should we throw in the towel or not? Who goes on these things?
I think, well, from my experience, every walk and makeup of couples really goes to couples retreats. I think that someone who's never been before may think that, oh, we're just going on this fun vacation where we're going to have lots of sex and we're going to sit on the beach and sip wine all day. And yes, that could be the case. But usually there's a little bit of work that gets involved in that fun play.
Yes. And for me, in the sense of couples retreats, I think because I do a lot of couples counseling with the majority that I do. So I see couples that come in and we do the weekly or the every other week thing. And for most therapists, you go in for an hour. So there's a part where you have to warm up, like we're just starting to warm up. That's what I call it. Then you get into the meat of it. Then you have to shut back down. Try to do all that in an hour. So you really don't get a full, the full hour, and you're like into something and you have to learn how to shut it down before the next session. And a retreat, it's the beautiful part is that we have time.
Yes.
And that is so helpful because when you're dealing with affairs or trauma or a loss of a child or grief, you need extra time. And that's a lot what a couples retreat can provide.
Yeah. And it also takes you out of that normal environment to give you time to really process those thoughts with the time that you have. Because, like you said, when they come in for a session, they do that 1 hour, and then they go home, and the comfort of homes may put them right back, and undo everything that they just spent this hour doing. But when you get picked up and you're in a different environment, it almost forces you to really work through and think through the things that need to be worked out.
Mm-hmm. Right, definitely. And I like how you put it. It does take you out of your regular environment. If you're out there listening and you're having in a relationship and you need sometimes to get away. Yeah. And Coach K, I know you have been married for many years and you have 5 children. What are your thoughts about leaving your kids to go spend time with your husband on a retreat or any kind of thing?
I have not a single thought about it at all. Those kids, deuces. I don't have the mom guilt. I don't have the parent guilt, simply because I know that when I'm at home,
Right.
I'm giving them all of what they need from me, and I'm parenting them as I need to. And I also teach them that I am not their everything. Their dad is not their everything. We are just a portion of you. So I'm okay. I am happy to just get, but I know it's not easy for everyone to do.
Yeah, that's the struggle for many couples. It's like, and I wasn't like that either. I was okay leaving her, but people are like, oh my gosh, I can't leave. And even when they're almost teenagers, or even, yeah, like they're not even young babies, and they're like, oh boy, I'm only going to be with them for a certain amount of time. Yeah, but your kids are going to leave you, and then what's going to happen? Then you and
And
your
it's a
partner
crutch.
know nothing. Yeah.
Sometimes that is a full blown crutch. You know, again, that's why it's good to get out of that environment because you don't have that crutch of the children. You know,
Mhm.
I do this because of the children. I have to do this because of X, Y, and Z. I can avoid talking to my partner because these kids are right here. So walking away from them, it can it can make someone anxiety feel because oh my gosh, I have to face my partner now. There's no distractions, and so it's not always a mom guilt versus a crutch.
Right. Right. Another crutch is work.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah, couples and people that are, trying to make their relationship work or they're struggling. They're like, well, we can't get away because we're working, 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 working. Yeah. And then I'm like, well, what are you all working for?
Right.
Right.
I had a one of our couples who one of them they work remotely so they were able to do work and we accommodated that. You
Right.
know, when you need to, because there's sometimes when you do need to work. But I will say that once they were done, they were right back in the saddle, which makes it
So
turn.
much. Right. Right. It makes it so much better in that aspect. So, what happens in a couples retreat, which is what many people want to know? Well, what happens? Well, I cannot speak for every retreat that's out there, but in the sense of the retreats that we have at Vacation Counseling, we when couples set up to come on a retreat, they actually start to learn different skills such as how to communicate, how to connect emotionally, how to connect. Also, I'm a sex therapist, how to connect sexually, how to have fun. And the good thing also is when you're in a retreat, you actually get to chance to actually get some counseling services that can be really, really, really helpful, which is wonderful. So when you come on a couples retreat, especially the ones we have here in Florida, which is called One Couple at a Time, we work at your speed, and we just don't sit there and just have regular counseling where you're sitting on the couch and just trying to just do regular counseling. We actually try to have fun because that is so important. And so, Coach K, I know also you also in your activities incorporate fun in helping couples connect.
Oh yeah. It's every game that we play has a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And we from the time that our couples arrive on usually either Thursday or Friday night, from the icebreaker discussion, everything is on purpose. And usually when they get about halfway through whatever activity that they're doing, there's always someone's like, oh, okay, I get it now. um, but doing things like that and making it fun and making it interactive, it helps to train the brain so that when they do go home, you don't fall back into those old habits. Because I know that if I have a game with, I don't have it with me, but it's like the large Jenga blocks.
Right.
So I know for one couple, every time they see blocks, this is going to be a triggering point for them of building a house. You know, when some people see paint, it'll be the same thing. So that's what makes it fun.
Right, definitely. And I think the fun piece also helps them become very creative in their minds,
Yes.
and when you add fun and you add play to it and you're creative in your mind, and you figure out creative ways to have fun, then we also work on creative ways to find solutions.
Exactly. And they see their partners in a different environment doing new things,
Right.
because sometimes we get into this routine, and we start to take each other for granted in that routine. Well, now we're out somewhere, say, Costa Rica, you seeing your partner in these nice swimming trunks or this swimsuit, and we're engaging in this activity where we're learning, but I'm looking at my partner like, oh my gosh, I never looked at you in this. Well, look at you do this thing, or look at you answer these questions. And it really sparks that trigger from when you first fell in love. Like, what caused you to fall for this person? It almost takes you to that place where that hormone is released of, butterflies are not gas.
Yeah, and I know because you mentioned Costa Rica, it's just brought in mind. When I take couples to Costa Rica, a lot of times we do zip lining. Yes, and so seeing how the couples connect in that zip line process, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know you loved the heights so much," or God, wow, I'm a little afraid of going X, Y, Z, and then the partner says, "Hey, let me help you." How
Mm.
they work together. It's breathtaking.
It's, oh my gosh, it's amazing. You
Mhm.
know, it's worth every penny. It's intensive, but it's necessary, in my opinion. It's just like when you go in and take your car once a year for a tune up. It's just like that.
Right. And it's definitely necessary because as a couple, and especially if you guys have kids, you're at the top and you're running like a little corporation. And it's really good for the top to go and have a retreat, talk about things, get back on the same page, because then you can show up better in a united front for your kids.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And then as you get older, another aspect is once the kids are gone and you're having retreats and you're finding new things that you love to practice and do. You're kind of like dating again, you know what I'm saying? Finding new things to have fun with, which is also wonderful.
And retreats are also important, pivotal places in some balance of relationships. You mentioned at the top of the time that, do we do this retreat or do we throw in the towel? Some people will say, okay, we've tried we've tried the traditional counseling, we've tried the individual counseling. Let's do this thing. Let's do this thing together and see what we need to do. And I found that, I think in my very first retreat, that couple, they let me know they found out some things that they didn't know about each other, and some things they didn't know about themselves.
Mm,
And here we are 3 years later, and they may not feel like they're compatible anymore, because whatever it is that they learned about themselves, maybe they were settling. Maybe they were doing this because it was they had mommy or daddy issues. You don't know. But that retreat, again, getting out of that normal environment and learning new communication skills, being able to just sit with yourself and your partner, having to be transparent and real with each other, you really come to that place of, am I pretending, or is this what I need to work to keep moving forward in?
definitely. And you know what I was just thinking, because we were talking about do we throw in the towel? Many times I get calls of couples where there's been an affair, and they're like, I don't know, should I end this relationship? I don't know what to do. And they think I don't think I could stand being in a room or yes. But that's when you really need to get away. So
Mm-hmm.
you can really have the time to process and talk about what happened,
Yeah.
so you can find a way to connect, to see your partner and your partner sees you.
Yeah. And to make an informed decision,
Yes.
because infidelity it's the ultimate betrayal, but it's not always a deal breaker
Right.
unless it's habitual or it's something else, you know. And if that is your deal breaker, then that's okay.
Right.
You know, just it's perfectly okay. But there are some people who they don't want that to be their deal breaker, but they have friends and family that are looking like, oh my gosh, you gonna just da da da, you know. But that's again, like you said, that's that time to get away with a clear mind, new environment, with a professional that can help you to walk and talk through the
Right.
next steps.
Right. Because sometimes, and it's not, sometimes people do have an affair because they're looking for someone, but sometimes people have an affair because they're looking for themselves,
Right.
you know? And so, yeah.
That's that piece right there. My gracious, yes.
Yes. So, and then people say, well, sometimes, our relationship has just been so dull. We just work, 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 and we don't do anything. Should we go on a retreat? Because I don't even know if we're connected. Yes. Yes. You got to try something different. If you do the same thing over and over again and expect change and nothing's happened, then you're like, I'm continuing to do that. That's insanity. You got to do something different.
Yep. That is the definition of insanity.
And the other thing about couples retreats, like the ones we do in Costa Rica, and I think it's some of yours, you get to meet other couples.
Yes.
And sometimes that's a great source of comfort, a source of, hey, I'm not in the same boat, you know? Recently, I think it was one of the last retreats we had, a couple was struggling about having an affair. There was an affair thing. And then she thought she was the only one until she ended up talking with the other couple and found out she wasn't. Yeah, that the other woman had done the same thing. And so they were able to have a bond there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They usually walk in as strangers and walk out as friends.
Yes.
You find you, and especially because you can see couples at all stages. You know, we had a 1 year, a 9 year, and a 20 year married couple. And it's great for the 1 year to see the 20 year and 9 year and the struggles that they have gone through to see, okay, you can come out on the other side. And that what we're doing this early on, you know, some of the ones that are 9 and 20 years, like, oh man, I wish we had thought to do this early on. So it's encouraging, it's helpful, because it's hard to find married friends. You know, there's a lot of single friends everywhere, and there's nothing wrong with it. But sometimes you just want to hang out with other couples that can relate to the situations that you actually go through. Because, yes, there is a difference. There is a huge difference in relationships within a marriage. And I know some people just think that it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell those people, hand me your checkbook and I'll write all your checks if there's no different.
Right. Yes, there is a difference. Yeah. Yeah. And so kind of like what you were saying, because if you don't have a good set of couples who are also, married and in good relationships, you don't have other like support systems, you know, which is really helpful for your marriage and your relationship, because
Yeah.
birds of a feather do flock together.
They do. You don't see the pigeons and the eagles hanging out at all. They don't hang out together. They just don't. And I like that you said that are in healthy relationships,
Right.
because it's not enough to just to be around other married people.
Right.
It's important to be around other married folks in healthy relationships. The relationship part of a marriage is way more important than the marriage.
Mm.
And I need for people to hear that the relationship that you have, the relationship that you have can be the determining factor on whether you stay together or not. You know, the marriage is the marriage, but
Right.
it's the relationship that you have that really creates the entire environment. And I hope that makes sense to everyone that's listening.
Well, yes, yeah. It's that connection between partners.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know, every successful marriage doesn't look the same. Some successful marriages end in divorce, but with a healthy relationship, it doesn't have to be messy. It doesn't have, there may be some divorcees that go on retreats.
Right.
You, because of the relationship.
Right. Right. Which is so important, especially when you have children,
Mm-hmm.
and one thing I like about retreats and stuff is you can, and I have a retreat coming up where they're looking at getting a divorce and they've already decided on that, but they want to have an ending of their marriage in a successful way. So it's not about all this getting lawyers and lawyers and lawyers. They want to still maintain a relationship with each other
That's
that's
so
not
vital.
hurtful because they still have kids, so that is definitely so important.
Yeah. And that's very mature, very forward thinking, and very transparent of them to even think to do that. They know that the relationship piece is what actually matters.
Right. Right, which is key. And what I say to a lot of couples that come in is that it's not my job to really fix their problem. My job is to help them see each other.
Yeah.
Because like you said, every couple is different. What's good for one couple may not be good for X, Y, or Z.
Yeah. So giving them those tools, showing them new ways to communicate, those are the things that are helpful for them going home and not falling back into the same routine.
Mm-hmm.
It's the on purpose and the follow up. That's important as well. You know, with all of the couples that come to our retreats, there is a follow up that happens. I want to know, are you continuing the communication? You know, are there places where you're stuck? Do we need to now from this retreat do a certain amount of weeks, of continued work? Because it's not just retreat and stop.
Right,
The work continues. The support is needed afterwards as well.
right. And I'm glad you said it's not just retreat that stop, because relationships do take some work. You've got to pay attention. And when you come to a retreat, it's really good to be prepared to be open, to be vulnerable, to be able to hear. And then as at the retreat, you're learning so much stuff. You get materials, you try to take notes. And then it's when you're going back home, it's applying it. And like you said, it's really good to have follow up or to be accountable. Hey, I said we were going to do this, definitely.
Yeah, I have fun there too. I like retreats. I just enjoy it. I love to see the connections. I love to see the communication. You know, like you said, I've been married, it'll be 17 years on June the 10th. And so listening to other couples, it's also helpful for us. I love to be able to get their insight and share our insight. So I just enjoy watching the growth.
Yes, it's definitely inspiring for me is to see couples come in and how they change and how they grow, or even I've worked with couples from this year to 5 years from now to see that change and that dynamic, and it's almost like wow, it's very exciting. And I do think retreats, I know in my field and what I've been doing, vacation counseling, we have been 98% effective. So, which is
Awesome.
wonderful. Yes. But we do such intense work, but it's so much fun.
How many years have you been doing the vacation counseling?
Oh, this has been, I think we're on year 4.
Awesome.
Yes, we're on year 4. So yeah, we're coming up to year 4. So I'm just been exciting. And we have one coming up in Costa Rica again, which I love. I love Costa Rica. I fell in love with it. Just it, how can I put it? The retreat center is simple, very
Mhm.
simple. There's no fluff. And it's out there in the rainforest with the
Mm.
monkeys, yes, with all the exotic animals. And we're out there exposing ourselves, but also being so vulnerable to one another,
Mhm.
and we have no other distractions. So it's just really a great time to just get connected. You have some group format, but I also provide some one-on-one time for every couple to spend time with. Yeah,
Yes.
yes, which is it's just been amazing.
So you all are one with nature, which is super important of getting back to the basics, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, and then we always tend to do a spiritual thing also to incorporate the higher power in that process. So yeah. So what are some upcoming events that you have going on?
So I'm really excited about date night RBA is it's a social club for married, engaged, or couples that are just together. So it's not for singles to date. It's for couples to date. And what we do is we have fully executed dates. And so with that, I have on May the 13th, we have molds and mimosas where we have bottomless mimosas while we're making candles. So it's like create that perfect chemistry together in your candles. And then we have Roll With Us Couples Edition, which is a bowling activity that we have coming up May 23rd. So I'm really excited about those two. And we have another one on May 25th. It's a mental health and sexuality talk that I'll be doing, but I don't have full details on that yet, but that is to come. But anyone can go to datenightRBA.net, and that will take you to all of the events that we have coming up for our couples here in the Richmond and surrounding areas. Honestly, if you see a date and you live in North Carolina and you want to join us, go on Eventbrite and look up Coach K 101. Come on. It's all about staying in the dating mode in your marriage and in your relationship.
Yeah, that is so key to, like you said, staying in that dating mode and not taking each other for granted. And when you're on a date, and I was just thinking, like when you're bowling or you're doing making the candles, that's a time for you guys to enjoy and connect, not to talk about the kids, not to talk about finances or problems or whatever, to go on an actual date. Because some couples, they forget about how to go on a date.
Absolutely. And I know you said you have your Costa Rica retreat coming up. Do you have any other retreats as
Oh,
well?
yes. So the Costa Rica is June 29th to July 3rd. But we always have, I always do an intensive where if you're out there and you're really like struggling and you're like, I don't know if I can do a full, 5, 6 day retreat, come to Florida, spend a day or two at an intensive. We just meet with you guys and we do some fun things. We go to the gardens, to the beach. I'm adding a boating aspect to it. So, yes, to help couples connect. So,
That
and
is awesome.
yes, and all these retreats, people think, well, do we just have fun? Do we talk about our problems? We will talk about problems. We will, get to the root of things. So, definitely check us out.
That sounds exciting. I love the intensive things. My husband keeps saying, we need to do quarterly retreats. I was like, I'm not ready for that just yet.
Yes, yeah. And we do also do retreats, one couple at a time, if you want to come for 5 days and stay in Florida. Because here it's beautiful. We have the beaches, the atmosphere, and we come to you. So definitely, yes. Yes. Well, this has been such a great topic about retreats that I'm just glad that you and I were able to share with the audience about retreats and the importance of them.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So we'll be taking a break, and we'll come back and we'll tell you what's coming up next for bringing intimacy back.
Are you wanting a vacation in paradise? Vacation to reignite the passion, the desire in your relationship? Vacation counseling is just for you. We are deeply committed to your success as a couple. Our couples counseling retreats are exclusive, effective, and intimate. At Vacation Counseling, you will benefit from a combination of couples counseling, intimacy counseling, and individual counseling while you and your partner enjoy a relaxing vacation in sunny Southwest Florida. If you are interested in vacation counseling, please visit us at vacationcounseling.com for more information on prices and packages.
Okay, yes. And one last thing I wanted to say about vacation counseling. If you email me at Dr. April at Bringing Intimacy Back, I have a coupon for you that's $500 off. So
I was going to mention that.
Yes.
You know, I'm not going to let us go without
discount code. Yes.
without us talking about that. So we talked about, we have that vacation counseling coming up June 29th through July 3rd. We have the 4th annual Foods and Love Couples Retreat coming up March 28th through April the 1st, 2024. And we have some amazing shows that are coming up in the coming weeks. So let me tell you about those. So on May the 11th, we have Why Vulnerability is the Secret to Intimacy with Alara Sage. On May 18th, we have the Emotional Roller Coaster with Dr. April and myself. And then on May the 25th, we have The Magic of Connection with Tom Glaser. Really great shows coming up throughout this amazing masturbation month of May and mental health awareness of May.
Yes. So if you're out there listening, please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. We will see you guys next week. This has been the Bringing Intimacy Back show. Thank you again, Coach K, for being here. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Bringing Intimacy Back, where intimacy is real. You can also find us at bringingintimacyback.com, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Dr. April Brown's 7-book series, Improving Intimacy, is now on Amazon. We'll see you next Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Don't forget to follow, share, and subscribe.